problems. What's that? What the was that? I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that the game is perfect. It's not. It's kind of the point. It's janky. It's a buggy mess right now. There's got to be something in here, bro. I've never been in this space. What the f? How did a tank? That's a tank, bro. That shit is alive and it's moving. Y'all see this shit? Look. It's a whole buggy mess. Yo, look at them tweaking. Look at them tweaking. That's hilarious. However, if you do play this current iteration of the game in the ways that the developers intended you to play it, it quickly becomes an odd fixation into masochistic tendencies. If you're a Soulsborne fan, bro, like, you're gonna fit right into this game, I'm telling you. So overall, that's kind of like the general message, okay? But let's dig a bit deeper. And as I dig a bit deeper here, I'm gonna list out things that need improvement and also things that I just flat out didn't like about my experience playing the game. So what needs improvement? The stealth. I'm not opposed to stealth games, never have been. Some of my favorite games of all time are stealth games. So the approach I took right out the bat was kind of like a stealth approach. I personally found my time a bit more easier than others may have had because of the fact that I just took a stealth approach. However, the stealth aspect of the game is not 100% fleshed out. For example, if an enemy is behind you and you can't see that enemy, but that enemy sees you, you have no way to tell if that enemy is actually noticing you. Oh, nope. 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 That is a robot. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Wait. Wait, I'm not ready. I'm not ready, bro. I'm not ready. There's really no other way for you to know that somebody sees you other than when the music ramps up and starts to take hold of the entire environment. Understanding your level of, you know, perceived threat to the NPCs is kind of pivotal in a stealth action game. It's kind of difficult right now to know whether or not an enemy sees you. It would also be kind of helpful to know if, you know, when I'm in shadows, I'm either visible or not visible. Environmentally too, like if there was a mechanic that existed there that, you know, much in the same way that Ghost Recon Breakpoint uses, you know, what is it called? The prone camo, the active camo, whatever they do when they put mud on them. That would be amazing. Like, that would just be an intense, really cool addition to the game itself. The characters. As of right now, I don't really see any true differences in them other than what they specialize in. And this is kind of a problem because what incentive do I have to use any character if their specialties aren't really truly defined, right? If Scab Girl is a pro, you know, at covert ops, you know, let me do a silent takedown and maybe give me a preload out catered towards like silenced weapons and, you know, stealth. If preloadouts are kind of like a no-no for you guys, then give her character upgrades that kind of revolve around that, you know, like silencers, stealth. Let, you know, Scab Girl have more maneuvers like rolling and dodging. If Masked Man is the master of arms, and give him perks like added shield so he can go into the field guns blazing. These wouldn't necessarily be ultimate abilities. We don't need another hero shooter, right? But this would be kind of contingent on, you know, the lootable items that you acquire and the items that you actually take into the field by character. While the characters are amazing visually, right? Like, there's no arguing that. To me, I think this adds even more of a character and more of a story behind them. It also provides multiple avenues for people to play the game that you're building, which personally answers a lot of the bitching and complaining that people are doing about the game as a whole right now. I think that there is a really unique balance here that really allows everyone to play the game in the ways in which that they want to play it, while also adhering to the core mechanics of the gameplay that you guys are building. If you, the developer, don't want the tanky dude to just, you know, go in guns blazing and be able to destroy everything on the field, give him setbacks, right? You currently already have one built in to the game. It's baked into the game already. Because if a tanky dude goes in with like shotguns and like heavy weaponry, he's gonna have a harder time, a way harder time than everybody else. But there's essentially no reason why he can't have fun mowing people down in the process, right? Allowing your game to have multiple avenues of experience provides a multitude of different ways and more depth to the game as a whole. If the game in its entirety is just supposed to be a stealth warrior experience, then it's just not gonna grab multiple people's attention. And simultaneously, it's gonna stagnate the game as a whole. And this is not to shit on the work that Fundog has done at all, because what you guys have accomplished is if I could clap really loud, I really would, because it's dope. It's dope. But it's just making it more accessible to different types of play styles. Not only this, it's gonna make for some really dope and unique squad experiences when, you know, you get your friends together and play the game. I'm just like visualizing this in my head, okay? Like it just sounds like a dope experience. So the character animations, enemy animations, and environment. It's all janky right now. I do think that over time this is gonna get touched up, and this is personally, I think it's such a nitpicky thing, to be honest. Heal, bitch, heal! But these kind of things do add to the immersion of the game. Sometimes when you climb over obstacles, you can kind of see your character just floating just above it. Or if you're walking backwards, it doesn't necessarily change the direction of your feet, so it kind of looks like you're ice skating on gravel. Overall, for me, this is kind of low on the list of things, because I do think that the game is impressive the way it is now. Polishing this would be dope, but, you know, outside of that, what I do feel that needs a lot of fixing is enemy LODs, or level of detail, for those of you that don't know what that means, and the scripted actions that kind of take place. LODs would just lose visual fidelity entirely after they achieved a certain distance from my character. Look how much they lose fidelity after they get to a certain distance. That shit is hilarious to me. And that's kind of immersion breaking, right? Like, you don't want to necessarily lose that, or you want to code it in a way that it's like, it's believable, right? But they would just lose fidelity, like they were just like walking at like 2 frames per second or something like that. It takes you out of the game. Takes you out of the game, you know? I also noticed that multiple times, that if I passed a certain threshold within Scorched Enclave, as I approached this exact spot, the same enemy would spawn in, triggering an event. And you know, this type of situation would also happen several times in mech trenches. I know there was a bunch of patches that came out recently. I don't know if this kind of thing has been fixed. In my personal experience playing the new versions of it, it seems like it is, because it seems like the NPCs are acting completely differently. The devs did something. They were not, they used to not do this. They're just standing there now. The devs did something. This is not normal. This is not normal enemy behaviors. This ain't normal. This ain't normal. This ain't normal. This is not normal. They were not, they used to not do that. I'm very confused. I don't understand what's happening. Overall, when I played it within the first week, these are things that just happened. I would be able to trigger events multiple times and see it pan out in the same exact way. Also, just having like dynamic interactions to like noise and alert modes is just icing on the cake, right? But all in all, like AI behaviors just felt scripted, you know, alongside a ton of popping. Like enemies would just literally spawn directly in front of me or on top of me. So yeah, that needs to be fixed. Customizations. I oftentimes found myself just confused customizing guns and my rig and things like that. I could never truly tell if what I was customizing my rig and guns with actually ever took. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I kind of struggled with this. I spent like, I want to say maybe like 20 minutes just trying to customize one gun. I would load into the map thinking that I put a silencer and all this crazy stuff on my gun just to have it just be the basic free loadout that it was, you know? Similarly too, I think that, you know, customizing your rig should allow for more options a bit earlier. It's kind of a bummer that, you know, currently when you first start the game that, you know, you can only loot like one large item. I just think that being able to unlock these types of things like customizing your rig, it can be expanded on in so many different ways, and there's so many different things that you can do. Maybe there's like other options if you want to like dismantle your rig and put more large item slots on your rig, you should be able to do that. I just think that that kind of thing should be unlocked a bit earlier, because if you want to just prioritize a specific thing on your loot runs, you should be able to do that with ease, and it kind of made it a bit more difficult than it needed to be, in my personal opinion. Another fix to this could, you know, maybe make the pre-rigs just a bit more affordable, because Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm taken for highway robbery from fucking Bundleton. This dude's asking for like $500,000, bro. If the customizations were kind of unlocked a bit earlier as a quest, you know, to be able to choose which rig you want, it just would allow for a lot more variety and like loot priority. But it would just be a lot cooler to have it unlocked a bit earlier, rather than having it being tied to how much water you have in your innards and things like that. And also, I think it would be super cool if, you know, throughout my journey on the surface world, I can craft or like find a new rig left behind by a dead scav or something like that. Like being able to like take my rig apart, like swing it around, pull it apart, and like piece together certain parts to prioritize specific things, you know, within a run. Like what if my rig wasn't loaded out for, you know, all large slots, right? But I come across something on the field, and, you know, I come across all these pipes and things, and I want to dismantle my rig, and I want to take it apart and start building more, you know, large slots. I should be able to do that, right? Wouldn't that be cool? To just do it like on the fly like that? I think that would be dope. Optimization. The game needs to be optimized. I think this is a well-known issue. Like you guys already know that, you know, the devs are very open about this. They even admitted to the fact that the game is just not optimized. Okay. But it's blatantly obvious. It's early access, right? Like, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. So for me personally, this is way down on my list. But yeah, that needs to happen. Okay. It will just allow for more people to play it on like different platforms too. Maybe they have a Steam Deck and they want to check your game out. You know, they should be able to, or whatever specific computer rigs that they have, they should be able to play your game. And apparently right now, according to my friend, this game is literally unplayable on Steam Deck. So I don't know. But yeah, this opens up more avenues of play for your game. Hence more customers, hence more...
The money, Skylar, where is the rest?
You get the idea. Now here is what I absolutely don't like at all. Aiming. So it's a third-person shooter, right? But when I aim down sights, it goes directly into first person. It's just jarring to me. Like I should be able to kind of toggle this between third person and first person very easily, right? Like if I need to.
But yeah, so apparently I'm stupid.
Cause you can aim in third person. If you press the left alt button, it does aim in third person. I didn't know this. I just found out about this. Okay, so
I'm stupid.
I probably should have read the keybinds first. But
Stupid.
and I noticed too that when you right click when you're in the third person aiming mode, it kind of adds this weird reticle thing. It just seems a bit odd to me. I don't know why. It's maybe its purpose is to not be as accurate as first person, which is intentional, so I get all of that aspect of it, but it just feels weird. Like that reticle feels weird to me. Maybe a traditional reticle would help in this situation, or even making the reticle dynamic to the specific guns that you actually take into the field could help. Outside of this, I do think that, you know, the devs do need to think about what kind of game this is to be, like which state you're supposed to be playing this in. Is it supposed to be first person? Is it supposed to be third person? I think that distinction really needs to be made very clear. And I also think that this should vary contingent on what weapon that I take into the field as well. For example, if I right click and I have a sniper rifle, I shouldn't go into a third person aiming mode. I should go directly into a first person aiming mode. Or subsequently, you could just make this toggle like within the default settings with like a middle click or something like that. It just adds a bit of more streamlining when you're playing the game, because I usually aim with the right click and it just felt a little odd to have to aim in third person with the alt. This is a very like odd thing, you know, to gripe about, but I just felt like the way that it was mapped on the keyboard just didn't make sense to me personally. So just a bit of feedback there. Grenades, so they don't exist.
But why?
I mean, you know, IEDs currently exist in the game. That's a thing. But it just would be cool to have this be an option in the game, you know? It just would be awesome to have it be something that you could take with you. You know, things such as like smoke grenades or thermite or concussion, sticky grenades, C4, frag grenades, distraction grenades, or even like going into more like sci-fi elements, you know, like maybe an active camo grenade. I don't know. Or a temporary mobile turret grenade that like you throw it at somebody and it just shoots, it like goes up and shoots a specific group of enemies or some shit like that. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just throwing shit out of my brain. Okay, just some grenades, right? I feel like in these battlefields that would exist. Movement, aim leaning, and looking. So I'm not even entirely sure if this is like a feature, right? But it doesn't necessarily feel like it currently in the current build of the game. Cover is intensely important in a shooter game. It's very important. So make your characters utilize this in sticky situations and have the option to be able to take cover. Aim leaning out of cover, or, you know, blind firing in crazy situations would help, rather than just sticking your head out and dying instantaneously. You know, some inspiration there could be possibly from Gears of War, which does it incredibly well. Also, I can't stress this enough. Being able to change your stance from left to right, can we just have that, please? Because it would just make being able to see around your environment so much easier. Right now, you're just kind of stuck on the left side. I can't switch my gun to another side or anything along those lines. It's just very difficult. I also, and I don't know if this has been fixed, to be honest, with the patches. I think it may have, because when I was recently playing, it kind of felt like it was, but I'm not sure. I didn't necessarily like that, you know, when I look around, it moves my entire character rather than the character direction being dynamically tied to WASD. For example, like if I move my mouse and I'm not actually moving my character, I should be able to swing my mouse in a 360-degree way. Additionally, I can't really just like strafe run. So if I'm pressing, you know, W or S while I'm sprinting, I just go straight, like just straight dead on. Strafing is kind of like limited to my mouse movement. So I can't actually strafe with A or D, or, you know, go in like a perpendicular, like diagonal direction if I press the other directions. So it kind of just makes it a bit janky right now to be able to move and maneuver around the battlefield, especially in crazy situations. Like if I press those inputs, I should be able to move slightly in those directions that I'm pressing. I don't think that exists right now. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments, but from my experience, I did not experience that. I have been having to move my mouse back and forth all over the place just to get out of a crazy situation. I think it would be better if I pressed those inputs, it did some of that. Okay. And also, you know, the dive button itself is kind of just limited to moving or strafing from left to right. So you can't dive when you're going forward and back, which kind of defeats the purpose of a dive, right? Like to me personally, I thought when I saw the dive button and I pressed it and I was moving forward, I thought I was gonna like dive into like prone state. But that didn't happen. I just didn't do anything. I thought the button was broken. And then I started moving left to right and I pressed the button and I did like, it's not even a dive, it's like a dodge. Making that a bit more dynamic within the game with the character movement would be a lot cooler. It doesn't have to go crazy like Black Ops 6 with their Omni movement, whatever it is that they're doing, but just something a bit better there with the movement as a whole, just to make it feel a little less clunky would be great. Gunfire rate customizations, definitely not high on my list, but multiple fire rates for guns would be useful. First fire to single fire to fully auto changes the priority of the gun that you take with you into the field. And this can easily fit into the customization kind of scheme that you currently have in the game. You can add it as a customization for the guns, or you can just make it standard contingent on what gun that you're taking into the field. And I saw that the game apparently has this feature already built into the game, and it says that you can toggle this using F currently, but I tried it when I was playing the game and I didn't really see anything change, to be honest. So I don't know if it's broken or if it's something that's it's a customization that needs to happen. I don't know. Multiplayer. Right now, there's no way to like just join on, you know, another person at all. I might be wrong here, to be honest, but I tried to join on people and my list was always blank all the time, every time I played. I don't know if it's just a me thing. I don't know. I tried it. It did, nothing happened. I'm sure it's gonna get fixed. It's just a minor gripe, but it sucks playing this game by yourself, okay? The water system. I think it's a great feature. What? I think it's a great feature. I actually like it. And I do think that it requires some tweaking. What I truly don't like about the water feature is that it diminishes in real time. So it takes a full day to remove one water. And to me, that feels like I'm being penalized for not playing your game. Which I think that's fine if you want, you know, if you want your players to be fully in it, if you want it to be a fully immersive experience, right? However, I do think an improvement here that I feel would just make the game way better is the way it depletes should be contingent on in-game hours, and it should gradually deplete as I play the game. If I'm losing one water every 10 minutes playing the game, right, that's gonna be an even more brutal gameplay style, you know, or even less time. I don't know, that's up to you guys, but I just feel like the way that it currently is right now makes it a bit easier to survive. It's weird. It's just weird from my perspective that it depletes in real time. Also, making the water itself deplete faster when I'm in the game kind of makes it so that when I'm in the world, the resource, it just feels like a necessity, right? Like I need to go get this thing. It makes it more important than everything else that I'm looting. I also think that it's gonna make the innards itself kind of feel like a lived-in place. Look, I am a working man. I am recording this at 9:30 at night. I get out of work at 6:30, okay? And some days I don't want to play a game, right? I just want to chill with my wife. I want to relax, right? I shouldn't be penalized for not playing your game. That's my point. Also, there's no really other real way to use water other than adding it to the reservoir. And to me, it's like if water is the lifeblood of everyone's survival in this world, then make it a literal currency, right? Like it kind of like a risk reward factor. Like I can add it to my reservoir, or I can choose to sell this water. I can't sell my water. It's not worth anything if I try to sell it, and it kind of defeats the purpose of water being that much of an important item that I have to loot in the world. Like, what if water was like $500,000 and you just automatically got $500,000 when you sold it, or you could trade it for, you know, something insane like a anti-tank gun or something like that, you know? It just seems really arbitrary, only serving the purpose of this survival mechanic, and I just feel like it could be used in a lot more dynamic ways. I also think that it should be harder to acquire.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I know it's contrary to what a lot of people think about the whole water system, right? And to be honest, I don't really give a shit. But if this resource is so precious, make it hard to find it. Cater the world that you built punishing in order to scavenge for it. Currently, I was able to amass over 30 days of water within just a few play hours. And I'm talking about, like, I work, okay, maybe an hour and a half, you know. And it also just seems like soldiers seem to care very little, like the NPCs seem to care very little when you're carrying it. Making it a tool, right, in the environment that serves the purpose of the lore also adds to the item being valuable. If I'm carrying water and a soldier sees that I'm carrying water, he should aggro the f out of me to stop me from extracting this item from the field. I like it, okay? Contrary to what a lot of people are talking about. I just don't necessarily feel like it's being utilized in the correct ways currently. Quests. So I've been looking for the body tank for literally, I don't even know how long. I can't find it. I have not seen not one tank with bodies on it. Where is the tank? Does it exist? The quest doesn't even assist on, you know, where to go to look for these damn things. I've seen videos of people finding them in Scorched Enclave. I've seen videos of people finding them in Ashen Mesa. I've loaded into both of these maps to what seems like 1,000,000 times, and I have never seen a body tank. I've never seen one. I don't know, maybe I have a bug or something's wrong. I don't know. But certain quests require you to do specific things. And it's confusing because you never come across them on the battlefield. Or like when you're doing a specific raid, like you never see these things actually happen. So when you see these quests pop up, where are they? If I had some sort of direction on where to find them, that would be cool. It's difficult to complete a quest when you have absolutely no idea how to interact with it. And some of these quests sound insanely cool, like really cool, if I knew how to do them. Oh, it's the mech part.
A day well spent.
Wait, I got the mech part. All right, I got the mech part. There's water here, but I can't take that. So the question is, where the is the mech components to the hangar in mech trenches? Where the is a hangar? Like, it just makes the game so much more difficult than it already is, and the game is already difficult, and it gets really frustrating to understand how to complete any one quest when you don't know where to go, where to look, and it's just like you're just supposed to come across these things by chance. You know, if every time you load in it's gonna be a different experience, I would like to know, or at least have some direction on what to do and where to go for some of these quests, right? Like, it would just be nice to know. Bugs!
Ma, they following me, Ma. They following me.
Who following you?
The bugs.
The bug.
I had several experiences of just flying tanks across the battlefield. Also, they would just sometimes just despawn directly in front of me. Okay. Enemies would also just despawn into thin air. Sometimes mechs and tanks would spawn and despawn into thin air. They would get stuck in the environments. Enemy foot soldiers would get stuck in environments too. Obviously, this is just game breaking in terms of immersion. Also, just exiting out of, like, when you're looting like a bag or a crate or whatever the case, generates like this little jump animation that happens. It's definitely not a huge deal, but it just gets annoying over and over again to see that jump happen. Putting silencers on for certain weapons also didn't take, and I know this was fixed in some of the bug patches recently, but I went in putting silencers on some weapons and apparently the silencer was on, but it wasn't on, and I almost shit my pants so many times because it sounded loud, but it wasn't loud. It was confusing. I was confused. That's all I'm gonna say, okay? In certain maps, especially on Ashen Mesa, I could see entirely through the map or walk through it. Also, I would just like get stuck in environments entirely. There was this one moment in Scorched Enclave where I was stuck between like the concrete and the banister, the awning area, and I was just stuck in between that. There's also areas on Scorched Enclave where you just get stuck on seemingly nothing for no reason. I don't know, it happens a lot in this particular area on Scorched Enclave. I'm talking about it like it always happens. It doesn't always happen, but when it happens, it's really annoying and frustrating. Also, sometimes enemies would just automatically aggro to me. Like, it would just automatically just show a red dot as if I did something when I'm chilling in a corner watching the battle. I don't know if it was contingent on the loot that I was carrying. I don't know what I did, but in a lot of these situations I had silencers. I don't know, it was weird. It was just automatic aggro on top of me and then I was dead. It just didn't feel fair. It also just felt like I didn't do anything to provoke the behavior. Like, I'm laughing because I love bugs in games, but I also, like, I know it's a problem and I know it's certain things that you have to fix, but I love it when things like this happen. They just make me crack up. Some of these bugs are just hilarious to see. It doesn't, like, it gives me like a good jolly feeling inside of my body. I love it. Also, like, looting items on the field just kind of felt a bit sloppy. Like, if I wanted to loot a specific gun and there was like a bag right next to the gun, I would have to take everything out of the bag, loot everything out of the bag to be able to put the gun on my gun runner pack. Like, your game is primarily catered to looting, right? Like, being able to find things on the field, and if you make looting difficult, it kind of defeats the purpose of your game. If I want to choose, and I'm a picky looter, if I want to choose a specific item that I want to loot on the field, I should be able to do that. Like, if I want to pull a gun that's worth like $15,000 because they exist, I should be able to do that. And also, we'll touch on this in the next section, which is lootable items, but I should also be able to find usable guns on the field. Every gun I looted was destroyed. Why? Also, in the character select screen, in the innards, if I chose a specific character, it just wouldn't reflect in the innards. I don't know if this has been fixed. I tried testing it recently. It just, like, I just wouldn't change my character to the one that I had wanted to use. So if I went from like Shaman to Scav Girl, I would still look like Shaman in the innards. And the only way for me to know if I chose the correct character was for me to go into my combat loadout, which would show my character on the far right, if you know, the far right side. I always kind of felt like I wasn't switching my character because of that. Like I would have to like double check my combat loadout, but visually I should be able to know which character that I'm using. Lootable items. Certain lootable items are like books, floppy disks, you know, cassette tapes or diaries, even dossiers, right? So I didn't like how I couldn't actually look into these items for myself. Adding this element to those lootable items is just gonna, and I'm getting excited about this because it's going to add so much to the lore of the game. I know this is something that the team is working on. Like, I just feel like looting these items, just having them be in their current state, just something that you can just acquire money for, is wasted potential. Hard drives, the diaries, the dossiers. Like, it would be just really cool if when I looted these items, I could look into them and maybe it unlocked like another quest to go kill some random dude, or it unlocked like a super rare quest for me to acquire like a new gun that doesn't exist in the vendors or something like that, you know, or even just some insight on the surface world onto, you know, what these soldiers are doing. I just felt like that was just, it's gonna be, I can see the vision, I see it. Okay, I see it happening, and it's making me so excited because I love shit like that. It just adds so much to the world that is already immersive in its current state. Like, just imagine it. You extract with the floppy disk, right? Like, if there was a computer somewhere in the innards that I could go and see what the contents is and then be able to choose who I sell it to. And if I sell it to whomever, it like changes their faction rating because it has valuable information that can change the tide of the, you know, the war that's happening up top. Shit like that. Like this is what I'm talking about, okay? And there's so many like types of lootable items like that add different gameplay elements to it, that add different levels of just depth to the lore. Like, I'm thinking so much about it, and it's driving me insane with how much potential there is for it. And not being able to do that currently was just kind of a bummer. I didn't like the fact that I couldn't do that. Conclusion. The game in its current state needs work. The devs know this. We know this. It's currently open access, so it's gonna be janky. It's gonna have issues. What's currently there, guys, it's extremely promising. I've been waiting for a stealth kind of action game that has like all of these kind of elements that I enjoy about gaming. You know, I play a lot of different games, you know, and I've played a lot of different games, but the whole environment of it, the horror aspect to it, the kind of like Terminator feeling that you get, you know, when you're on this battlefield, it's just, it's gold to me. It's everything that I've wanted for an incredibly long time. The game delivers. It delivered more than I anticipated. However, I do think that the game needs to be accessible to a lot of different playstyles. It will make the game far more marketable to multiple different players and multiple different people, right? I know there's this thing like a game for everybody is not a game, whatever the Helldivers people said. I'm f***ing up the quote, but I do think that there's a really beautiful balance with this game, that you can actually have these different playstyles without taking away from the core gameplay that you guys have already built. There is something here that is unique. Okay, and I just think the more iterations that you have on it, it's gonna be beautiful. You can have the game still be punishing without needing it to be played in one overall style. Players themselves should be able to decide how they interact and play your game. So would I recommend this game to you right now the way it is? The answer is it depends. If you're the type of person that just wants Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and you're bitching about all the legends and Apex Legends all the time. This is not gonna be the game for you. It's just not. Okay, it's not gonna be the type of game that you're gonna enjoy because it's not perfect. But if you see the vision, if you look at this game and you see it and you're like, this shit speaks to me on so many different levels, it's dope. I love the story. I love the idea behind it. I recognize that I'm gonna go into a janky situation, and I recognize that part of the development process is me being able to provide feedback to make it better rather than just bitching and complaining. And I love that experience. This is gonna be a game for you. Personally, I kind of love experiences like this. I like seeing a game's sort of development phases. I'm one of those guys that will see a game that's marketed to me and, you know, 4 years out and watch all of the vidocs and, you know, watch all of the notes and the development process as it continues, you know. And I also think that the whole idea of early access has been kind of tainted in the marketplace. Early access, at least to my knowledge, I know this is my first one, but to my knowledge has been used to kind of like double market your game, when in fact early access is supposed to be a way for a developer to share their game with the audience that they're trying to share it with, to get feedback on how to improve it. I've always kind of just wanted it to just do something like this, where it just felt like I can make a game, I see a vision, and I can make a game better, and I could provide my feedback on how to make it better. So that's what I mean by it depends, because it really truly does depend on the gamer, okay? Forever Winter is a true early access type. It's what early access was intended to be used for. And I just feel like we should all treat it with that kind of love and care. So kudos to you guys over at Fundog. You made a phenomenal mess. Let's make it better together. But what I think, what do you think? Have you played Forever Winter's early access? And if you did, what do you think about it? What do you think needs to be improved? I want to know. I want to know. I'm obsessed with this game. I love this game with all its, you know, buggy, janky mess. I'm literally hooked on this game. Since day one, since I've been playing it since day one, since early access, I am literally hooked on this game. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate everything you do. You have absolutely no idea. But if you did like this, please like, share, and subscribe. Any engagement helps. And as always, my friends, peace, and much love. I will catch you on the next one.